Welcome to Movie Recap. In today's video, we will be going through the 2020 crime thriller movie, Promising Young Women. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie begins with a woman alone at a bar appearing incredibly intoxicated, barely able to keep her head up and falling over in her seat. She's then noticed by three average guys, and one of them named Jerry, who claims himself to be a good guy, decides to approach her and offer to pick her home. While on their way home, Jerry suggests that they can go to his apartment first. It turns out that Jerry is not a very good guy. Despite her being barely conscious, he still offers her alcoholic drink and starts to kiss her. He even moves her to his bed and begins to do inappropriate things, only to realize that the woman is not drunk and has been faking it for the whole time, leaving Jerry in shock. The woman is Cassie, a medical student dropout on the brink of 30, who has no professional ambitions, has no boyfriend, and still lives with her parents' house. She currently works at a coffee shop to fill his daily boring days. Cassie, whose best friend Nina was raped when the two were in the medical school, though Nina reported the rape and though there were video evidence, no one at the school took her claims seriously and punished the perpetrators. That is the reason both Nina and Cassie left the school, and it's heavily implied that Nina later died by suicide. One day at the coffee shop, Cassie meets Ryan, who appears to be her former classmate at the medical university. He is confused with the fact that she works as a barista, but soon he asks Cassie to go on a date with him, but gets rejected. As shown previously, Cassie now spends her nights in nearby bars, faking herself as a drunk woman and posing as a bait for men to take her to their homes, then revealing their sobriety when they try to take advantage of her, embarrassing them and keeping a record of how many men that has fallen into her trap. On Cassie's 30th birthday, her parents give her a present and her mother starts to scold him, saying that it is very strange for a mature woman to still live in her parents' house without having a boyfriend and a friend. Surprisingly, the gifts turn out to be a suitcase, showing that her parents want her to get out immediately. Ryan comes back into the coffee shop to try his second attempt, claiming that Cassie gave him a fake number the other day. The funny thing is that Ryan spent several hours composing a very romantic text, only to find out that the message was sent to an oil rig worker named Red. This time, he confesses that he has liked Cassie since high school and asks her to go for lunch. Finally, Cassie goes on a legitimate date with Ryan. Both of them start to develop a closer relationship, and Ryan seems to be a real good person. He asks Cassie to visit his apartment, and she agrees with that, but suddenly he feels that it is too fast and offers to drive her home. Eventually, it makes Cassie upset, and she goes home alone as Ryan is already in her apartment. The next day, Cassie visits Ryan at the hospital, as he is currently working as a pediatrician, and says that she wants to continue their relationship, but he has to take it slow. At night, Ryan mentions one of his friends, Al Monroe. The man who sent Cassie on the spiral of grief and trauma has just moved back from London and is getting married, which makes Cassie upset. Since then, she begins to plan a strategy to revenge Nina on Al and others who were responsible for him getting away with a rape. She then meets with another former classmate named Madison. They have a little conversation, and we can see that Cassie purposely wants to get Madison drunk by keep pouring her champagne. Cassie brings up the topic about Nina's rape several years ago, but Madison keeps denying that Nina was raped and implicitly says that it was Nina's fault for getting drunk, which disappoints Cassie. Turns out that Cassie also hires a man to take the drunk Madison to a hotel room. With no memory of what has happened because she was drunk, Madison leaves several distraught voicemails to Cassie, who doesn't answer her call. The next target is the university's dean, Elizabeth Walker. But before that, Cassie lures Walker's teenage daughter Amber into her car by posing as a new makeup artist for the popular band called Wet Dreams. Cassie tells the teenager that she's lost and her phone is dead. Because it is Amber's favorite band, Amber is willing to help by borrowing her phone to Cassie. After her plan works, she later meets Walker under the pretense of resuming her medical school education and asks her about Nina's case and Al Monroe. Here, Cassie reveals that Al took Nina and raped her repeatedly in front of her friends while she was drunk. The dean seemed not to take the case seriously at the time and even didn't remember the case. Walker even implicitly says that Nina shouldn't have been drunk at the time, despite her being the victim. To punish the dean, Cassie tells her that she dropped her daughter at the dorm room with male students. At first, Walker doesn't believe her and threatens Cassie. But when Cassie hands over the daughter's phone, she becomes terrified and eventually apologizes for her action. At the end, Cassie reveals that she is lying and her daughter is safe at the diner. Even after building a good relationship with Ryan, Cassie keeps acting as a drunk woman in the bar, looking for a poor boy to become her victim. But unfortunately, she meets Ryan there while hooking up with a guy. Ryan is disappointed and leaves her alone. The next day, Cassie continues his revenge plan by meeting with Jordan Green, Al's lawyer in Nina's case, who forces Nina to drop the charges. Green then apologizes to Cassie and claims that he will never forgive himself for what he has done. Because of that, Cassie forgives Green and walks away, canceling her plan to harm the lawyer with a hitman. After that, Cassie visits Nina's mother, flashbacking their good memories with Nina. Nina's mom urges Cassie to forget it and move on because it brings no good to everyone, and especially to Nina. After that, Cassie spots a post containing information about Al Monroe's bachelor party, but she decides to abandon her revenge plan. She also visits Ryan and apologizes to him, begging to start their relationship from the beginning. At first, Ryan cannot accept the reality, but later, he approaches Cassie at the coffee shop and they finally kiss for the first time and fall in love with each other. Cassie even invites Ryan to her house and introduces him to her parents. Cassie is confronted by Madison outside her house. She urges Cassie to tell her what happened while she was drunk after that lunch. Cassie assures that the man only put her on the bed and nothing really happened. On that occasion, Madison hands over an old phone containing a video of Nina's getting raped and warns Cassie to never contact her again. While looking at the footage, Cassie discovers that Ryan was there as a bystander and decides to move forward on the revenge plan. The next day, Cassie visits Ryan at the hospital and shows the recording to him. She threatens Ryan that she will send it to his colleagues, except he tells Cassie where Al Monroe's bachelor party will be held. Not willing to risk her career as a pediatrician, he finally gives the address to Cassie. Ryan also demands forgiveness, but Cassie refuses to do so. Their relationship ends there. Cassie arrives at Al's bachelor party, disguising herself as a nurse stripper. Al's friend seems to be very unhappy about Cassie's arrival, not knowing what will happen next. Cassie starts her show. She orders all the boys to kneel down and start feeding them with a huge amount of drink. She takes Al upstairs and handcuffs him to the bed. When asked about her name, she answers that she is Nina Fisher, which surprises Al because the real Nina is dead and suddenly begs her to let him go. He screams for help, but Cassie has drugged his friends with a drink before. Al insists that he didn't do anything at the time and says that Nina was also into it. Cassie starts carving Nina's name into Al's skin, but Al suddenly manages to break free. He tries to stop her, but Cassie keeps fighting back. Because of that, he grabs a pillow and smothers Cassie with it for a very long time, causing her to die because of suffocating. In the morning, a friend Joe approaches him in the hotel and is shocked after knowing the fact that Al has killed a stripper. Both of them manage to get rid of the Cassie's body to cover up their crime. After disappearing for several days, Cassie's parents file a missing person report to the police, and Detective Waller begins to investigate the case by interviewing Ryan. He actually knows where Cassie went, but he refuses to tell the detective. Later, at Al's wedding, the final act of Cassie's plan unfolds as Ryan receives several pre-scheduled texts from Cassie, telling him that things aren't finished. Cassie's manager also receives a half-heart-shaped necklace with Cassie's name written on it. Also, the cops suddenly show up there, manage to find the matching half with Nina's name and Cassie's burnt remains, and arrest Al for the crime he has committed. Lastly, it turns out that Cassie had sent the location of the bachelor party and the proof of the rape to the remorseful lawyer, telling him to contact the police if she disappeared. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.